Who is the random stranger that you'll never forget? The old dude playing a saxophone while skiing down the mountain. That dude was doing black diamonds, muggles, and other crazy stuff while wailing on his sax. I only saw him that one time. Snubbull, the guy with suspenders? Yep, that guy. That's awesome, someone else can confirm my story. I have seen him. Only ever on the moguls, never at the bottom or the lift. He has a superpower. Was working at a gas station ways back. Young guy in a suit comes in talking on his phone. High energy, wants lottery tickets. Guy 2 is standing behind him with a Mountain Dew. If I get caught selling to underage people I get fined $1,000 and fired. So I ask for his ID. Dude loses his mind. You don't need my ID, just give me the tickets, but I actually can't until you show me your ID. Talking into his phone now. This kid is asking for my ID for lottery tickets, bro. I just need to see an ID, so fuck you kid. No, you don't give me the tickets. Guy 2 with Mountain Dew. Just show him your ID, dude. He's just doing his job. Dude is fucking livid now. He doesn't need blah blah blah. Gimme tickets etc. Guy 2 with Mountain Dew. You realize your joke, right? Everyone goes silent. Guy 2 with Mountain Dew stares calmly right at the dude. Your fucking joke. Dude storms out. Give Guy 2 that Mountain Dew for free. Thanks Guy 2 with the Mountain Dew. My mental image of that was pretty funny. I'm just imagining that guy reevaluating all of his life choices for a sec before storming out. I was around 7 or 8 years old in the early 80s. I was playing in the water at the beach, PB in San Diego. I don't remember how it happened, but I woke up and I was worried out by the surfers. A teenage boy in a wetsuit was holding me and swimming toward shore. I hope I said thank you. I remember so little about it other than his face and the confusion and fear. My parents didn't even notice. Thanks mystery boy. You got saved by Ocean Man. Ocean Boy at the time. Take me to the land. Such a silly comment, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. 100% you got saved by David Hasselhoff. Ocean Man take me by the hand. Now he's Aquaman. Met a crazy ass homeless old dude named Cactus Jim who instead of asking me for something was like, I all want some beer. I got cigarettes. He unzipped his duffel bag and must have had 8 or 9 40 ounces of Hurricane and 3 cartons of cigarettes. I spent about an hour kicking it was Cactus in the parking lot of an old CD store. Media play in case you're wondering. He told me the craziest shit about his life and how he got where he was. Turns out old Cactus was homeless by choice. He had money, a lot. I had a blast with this guy out of nowhere. He even demanded I took a carton of smokes and 2 40 ounces with me. Seriously, he demanded. Coolest stranger I have met. Laughed the hardest I ever have with that guy. That's a GTA Strangers and Freaks if ever I heard one. Real life Frank Reynolds. God damn it, Frank. Maybe Cactus Jim won the lottery and had to escape from his old life, but he got crazy as a result. My sister took me out to eat at a Vietnamese restaurant and the waiter was an average looking middle-aged guy. He came up to me as I was eating and placed his hand on my shoulder and asked me, "Are you happy?" I felt like electricity poured through my veins and I got ice cold. It probably wasn't anything, but I haven't really been right since. I'm probably blowing this way out of proportion, but it was one of those things you had to experience for yourself. Are you happy? Now that is just a can of worms you'd open up there. But are you happy, my dear? I was driving a friend home one night. He lived out in the country area of Ohio as it was like 4 AM and we saw a car on the side of the road that was abandoned, so I slowed down to see if there was someone in it and if they were okay. My friend got all freaked out and said this is a trap and to just keep going. I thought he was just being overly cautious. So we go down the street a little further and I see this woman in just her bra and panties and high-heeled shoes standing in the middle of the street with her back to us. I immediately drive up to her cause I thought that was her vehicle back there and thought maybe she needed help or had been raped or something, so I pull right up next to her. By the way, she never turned to look at us as we were coming up. She stood completely still, and as I got right up to her and rolled down the window and I asked, "Are you okay?" she very slowly turned her head to us, and that's when we realized it wasn't a woman, it was a man dressed in women's clothes, and he didn't say a word, just stared at us. My friend was like, "OMG, drive." We pulled away so fast. I called the cops to report what we saw, but we never heard anything about it again. I'll never forget that look on his face. How when we pulled up he never turned to look at us, and that blank stare he gave us was terrifying. My friend called it before we even saw him when we only saw the car when he said this is a trap. I'll never forget that morning. I drove so fast. I was panicking for a while after that. Yeah, it's never worth stopping to help anyone at 4 AM on a country road. If someone is out at that hour, odds are that it isn't going to end well. Well, he wasn't wrong when he said it was a trap. I was all dressed up, walking down Fremont St. in Las Vegas. I say to my friend, I wish I had a band-aid. These shoes are giving me a blister on my heel. And bam, this woman hands me a band-aid. I ended up writing a short story about her, where she's a freelance genie who goes around granting low stakes wishes. Honestly, relate with that lady. I get super anxious and bring way too much with me everywhere: band-aids, batteries, Q-tips, pads. That's understandable though. Pepper spray, tape, candy, flashlight, you name it. My friends like joking how I'm either going to kidnap someone or I'm ready for an apocalypse. Once this kid's toy died at a restaurant and it, surprisingly, wasn't loud, but we all knew the kids would be loud when he realized his toy died, so when I saw his parents panic I whipped out my batteries and handed it to them. I felt pretty cool, NGL. Now that just helped reinforce being overly prepared, because it's like, what if I get to be cool again? I was in the Netherlands tripping on mushrooms and I had a conversation with this dude about life and whatnot. He dropped some truth bombs on me about life and gave me some general advice. I asked his name and he told me that he was in the 99.9% of people that would cross my path and then disappear, so his name didn't matter. I insisted and he told me his name. To this day I don't remember his name or even his face for that matter, but I will never forget some of the advice he gave me. He was in the 99.9% of people that would cross my path and then disappear, so his name didn't matter. You could really pull out some supernatural theories of him now. I had a really strange encounter with a stanger when I was 14 or 15. My friend Dave and I were taking a bus out of Manhattan to meet up with his girlfriend and celebrate her birthday. When we got on the bus, it was rather full and we had to wait a few stops before a seat was available. I wound up sitting down next to a man in his 60s plus who appeared like he may have been homeless. He struck up a conversation with me, and before I got off the bus he hands me a random handful of mixed change. He says to me, "You're going to need this." I thought it was weird, but I was raised to be very polite, so I graciously accepted. My friend had decided he wanted to celebrate his girlfriend's birthday by cooking her dinner and a cake. The really crazy thing about this is that random handful of change was exactly, to the penny, what my friend needed to borrow from me to buy everything he brought to the register. What are the odds of that? Was he your friend from an alternate timeline, where he couldn't make dinner, broke up with his GF and ended up homeless? Haha. Perhaps that homeless man's name? His name was probably the strangest thing about the whole encounter. He said his name was Legion. I didn't include that detail in the OP because it sounds ridiculous, but that's what he actually said. As I got up to get off the bus, I said to him, "See you later." His response was, "Oh yes, I will see you later." His tone expressed certainty that we would see each other again. I once met a young boy, around 6-7 years old. I was a teen getting her lifeguard license and I just was sitting in this one area with the other kids from the course eating lunch. He watched us and came over and kept wanting to race us, and we ended up running with him a lot. After some time the rest of them had to use the restroom, so I took the fall and stayed back to watch everyone's stuff. And so this kid we've been hanging out with just sits near me and we just started talking. It began with normal things like school and friends, and then he started to tell me personal things about his life. About his father who passed away. He would refer to the guy as the daddy with the red cap sweatshirt. And about the abuse that would happen at his home with his other daddy. Thankfully it seemed past tense. My friends ended up coming back and the kid took off his shoe and threw it at my friend's leg when she refused to run with him. The second she picked up to go and lecture to him about why he shouldn't do that, he instantly became extremely fearful and cried. It wasn't just a kid that didn't want to get in trouble vibe either, it was one of complete and utter fear. He held his hands over his head and hid behind me because he believed that she was gonna start hitting him with the shoe. Afterwards we calmed him down and kept running with him. Later on he begged him mother and his grandmother, whom were with him, to be able to take them all out to lunch together. We politely told him that we had to head back to class and said bye. He proceeded to give us all hugs and we walked off. Children are innocent and will often tell you anything if you take the time to listen. There was just something so human to me in the conversation. He was a stranger and yet told me everything. I won't lie, I cried afterwards. And I won't forget him either. Also, sorry for grammar, it's late and I just wanted to get this off my head. In 2011, I sat next to a woman from Brooklyn, Roberta, I think, on a plane from New York to Oregon. I had noticed that across the aisle from us was a musician whom I really admired, Sharon Jones. I remarked to Roberta that we were sitting next to a celebrity. Sharon overheard our conversation and was gracious enough to say hello to us and chat for a minute. I was on top of the world. Roberta and I spent the next 5+ hours getting to know one another. She was an ideal seatmate, and I really enjoyed her company. As we were unloading, she asked Sharon if she wouldn't mind taking a picture with me. Sharon agreed, and I got a photograph and a memory I'll never forget. RIP Sharon. And thank you Roberta for a moment I'll always treasure. What an awesome experience. Those are the experiences that make travel a great experience. Best I've had was sitting next to a guy named Jesus on a bus ride back in the 80s who gave my mother and I an extensive explanation of how to properly use nunchucks and brass knuckles. Educational for certain, and definitely unforgettable. I dated a woman a few years ago that was crazy about Sharon Jones. I really liked her music, too. That was pretty lucky of you. Met this other boy who was the same age as me and had the same name as me when I was 10 at a buffet in a restaurant. We spent a lot of time pretending to pick food just so we could talk to each other, and our parents also ended up getting to know each other. In the end, we left and were both quite sure we'd be seeing each other around soon. I never saw him again. Saddest thing ever. This German guy in Berlin I met at the laundromat who told me all about the tough time he was having in life. On the way out he gave me his grey shirt and thanked me for talking to him about everything for an hour or so. If you read this I'd love for you to message me and fill me in on what's new bro. One time at the grocery store there was a man in the checkout line in front of me. Looked to be in his late 20s early 30s. Crying on the phone. He kept saying, please wait, give me 10 minutes. I'll hurry I promise. Please wait, please. He sounded so sad and I felt so badly for him. I don't think I've ever seen a man cry like that in public. I've often wondered what was happening and hoped things worked out. I was hanging out with my friends after school when suddenly this drug addict was yelling at me for looking at his girlfriend even though I wasn't at all. And he threatened to fight me. Next time pretend you're blind. Simple, yet brilliant. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more Reddit addiction. And leave a comment on a random stranger you met that you still remember.